Welcome back to another edition of the Stability and Opportunity Podcast. We're somewhere episode number 25, and I'm here with another exciting guest showing up for you guys daily. Today's special guest is Cami Baker. If you hadn't read the email, her title today is Mingling to Millions, but now the virtual edition. And so we're really excited to have her on the show. Excited to have a woman on the show. We've had so much male perspective, and so I think it's great to have some balance and some, we'll say, some estrogen to help us all kind of calibrate differently. And so just a quick couple of things before we get into her fantastic story and what you're going to learn about how to create stability and opportunity in your life, mind, and business are a couple of things. So if you're watching this live, this is a place to come during the day to connect, to get questions answered. This is not just a one back and forth conversation. This is you participating with us, asking questions. We've got a lot of returning guests every single day. Right off the bat, we got Robert, Pat, Eloise saying hello, and we love what you guys share. And so it makes this journey over the next hour together that much more fun. And so pop your questions in. I'll get them answered. If you've been a part of the show during this time, you know how much fun that is, as well as if you need accountability, if you need routines, if you need mindset, if you need scripts, if you need tactics and tips, or like I said, just a place to come and hang out, you've come to the right place for the next hour. And if you're not already on the email list to get the scripts are coming. They are coming. They are almost to you. And so over the last number of episodes, we've pulled all the best scripts out and have put together a video that we're going to be releasing very shortly. Be on the email list. We're going to mail it to you. And so I like to start most of our shows off with a positive quote. I've asked Cami to think of something for the show, so that way she has something very, I would say, personal and relevant to today's times. And so, Cami, welcome to the show. Let's start us off with that quote that you thought of.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. And the quote that I love to give is, the more I know I don't know, and the more I know I need to know. And when I say that quote, it reminds me that I am a teacher, I am a student, and I am always wanting to grow and learn. And God knows, in what's going on right now in our world, there's a lot more to learn.
A lot more to learn. Everyone, let's say hi to Cami right now. Let's give her like a nice REDX hello and welcome. Let's say hi, some thumbs up, some fives, whatever you got on your phone or on your keyboard, make it happen. We'll say hi to her. And that if you're watching this video, especially live, give us some thumbs up as well on the page. It really helps us rank, really lets the algorithm know we're making a difference to get the word out there. We put a lot of time, a lot of money into making these, bringing these people on. And so it helps us take our energy and effort and bring it forth. And so if you get value out of today's show, go mash that like button, subscribe. Hey, got a lot of highs. Hi, Cami. All right. So let's jump into a little bit more about you, Cami. I know who you are. REDX knows who you are. But I don't know if everybody listening to this knows who you are. And so give us a little history lesson, a life journey as to what you did in real estate, how you performed, where you are now, and what you'd like the audience to know before we get into the next level.
Very cool. Happy to do that. This is actually my book, Mingle to Millions, The Art and Science of Building Business Relationships. And this book came out about 3 years ago. And I tell people I was on HGTV House Hunters and, have worked with tons of Fortune 500 companies, but it was not always that way. 18 years ago, the way I got into real estate was this. I had moved from one part of the country to another part. And I went to pick my daughter up from daycare one day. She was about 2 years old. It was 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And I stumbled into the daycare and I picked her up in my arms. And as I had her in my face, I was made aware of the alcohol from my own breath in her face. And I realized, wow, she doesn't know what that smell is now, but she will. And I'm going to be that mother that is an embarrassment and that doesn't take good care of their child. I just had this whole awakening. And long story short, I put the plug in the jug, put my big girl panties on. And I answered an ad in the newspaper. And in the first chapter of my book, I talk about how the newspaper, for those of you who don't know, is the internet in print. And so I answered this ad, and it happened to be for a real estate agent who did about 125 deals a year. He was a RE/MAX agent. And I was answering this ad to, lo and behold, I didn't understand it at the time, but I was becoming his listing coordinator. And I worked for this gentleman for about a year and a half. I created hundreds of listing packets and I did hundreds of BPOs and was just basically being a paid listing agent. And then when I got my license, I started doing what I had watched him do. So he was a Mike Ferry agent. He was not only a Mike Ferry agent, but he was in their 3M program, which was the Millionaire Club. And I watched him prospect and I listened to him prospect. And he was so good at it that when he was role playing with someone, I'd start creating a listing packet because I thought he just set another appointment. And when I became my own agent, I started doing what he did because I knew that it worked, and I started picking up the phone. And I was in the top 5% the very first year, but it wasn't because of anything brilliant that I did other than understanding how important it is to get the right resources and tools like REDX, getting the phone numbers and the email addresses, and getting a coach to teach me how to do it. I could have taken 6 or 10 years, but instead I hired a coach immediately and was in the top 5% right away.
That is such a recurring theme I've heard over and over and over again, especially from people who are in the $1 million plus commission area, which is they sped up their results because they modeled someone who'd already achieved that success. I think anybody who's watching this right now has probably heard other guests mention similar things. Model the people, and then you'll receive similar results. And so was there a favorite lead type that you used or discovered or prospected during that time, or an approach?
Absolutely. It was expireds. And I want to share why I did not even want a listing unless it was an expired. So hold on to that thought. I just want to mention the reason why I bring up my alcoholism and my daughter and all that is because over the last 18 years, as I've been a speaker all over the world and coached people, et cetera, I've heard every excuse in the world from real estate people as well as any kind of entrepreneur or sales force about not having enough money or not knowing enough people or, I've got kids or whatever. So I share that story because if I can do it, going from literally broke and suicidal and drunk all the time to getting sober and being able to do this, anybody can do it. Because when I started in real estate, I did not know anyone. I didn't have a center of influence to tap into. I didn't have 500 people to beg, hey, when's your mom going to sell her condo? I had to find people who were ready, willing, and able to sell now. And thank God for that, because I've heard so many stories. I've met tens of thousands of agents, and so many of them, they get their license, here's your phone, you're on your own, good luck with that. And they go out and do all these open houses and beg for leads from other agents. But expireds were the ticket for me. And granted, I had watched this gentleman do it for a year and a half, and I knew how successful this would work. So the reason why I loved expireds so much, and the reason why the agents that I coach now, I will say I don't even want a listing unless it's expired, is because somebody else has already done the research. You already know it's not going to sell for 600 or 550 or 500. You know what price not to go above. Somebody else has already gotten the tax card and the deed. Somebody else already measured the rooms. Somebody else already went through 6 months or 6 years of the client telling them what to do and where they should advertise and when they should have an open house and all these things. And by the time I came in, and any other agent who comes in, it's best to be firstborn, second wife, and third realtor. Because by the time you're the third realtor, they just say, can you please get rid of this property? And you come in and list it for what the first agent knew they should have listed it at. And you get it under contract in 2 days and you turn into the hero when in fact they are just finally ready to listen to the voice of reason. So when so many agents talk about they're jaded or there's 10 other people calling them or they're mean, no, they're not. They're human beings who have a need. And if you believe in your service and company enough to provide that need, then, put your ego down, put on your big girl panties and pick up the phone.
I'm still holding on to, this thought right here back in the camera, but I don't want to let go of this thought, open this thought just yet, because you touched upon something really super important. I don't want to skip over it. It happened on yesterday's podcast with Jay Berube, and he talked about the struggles he went through in his life. depression, alcoholism, and what that really led to is mindset. And I
Mm.
think before anybody can really talk about opportunity, which is what we're going to get into, where's the opportunity in this market? They need to have stability in their heart, stability in their mind, stability in their mindset. And when someone comes from a place that you've come from, you've succeeded and survived from, I think that gives you a lot of authority to speak to everybody else who is either at that place, and there are people watching right now who are probably struggling with those issues, or somebody who has another version of that for themselves. And so if we can dive into mindset right now and help people break those bonds, break those chains, so that way when we get into the opportunity part of the podcast, we can have a little bit more clarity for them on that.
I love that. Thank you for bringing that up. And not just mindset, but like Les Brown says, you got to be hungry. You got to be hungry to do this. And I was hungry. I was living in a mobile home. I was on food stamps. I needed this to work. I needed it to work. So when I meet agents who, their husband or wife has a cushy job and they're selling real estate just because it's fun and they think it's fun to go look at houses, they're not going to do it. They're just not. So I was given the blessed gift of desperation. And because of that blessed gift, I was coachable. And because I was coachable, I also learned about mindset and about garbage in, garbage out. And who you listen to is who you become. And that's why I started reading books and getting coached by the Mike Ferry organization and, going and role playing and all these different things. People always want to know, well, what do you say? What do you say when they ask you your commission? What do you say when they ask, what are you going to do different? They all want to know the words, the words, the words. But the way we communicate, words are only 7% of how we communicate. Tonality is 38% and body language is 55%. And to your point, if someone's mindset is in the gutter and they're not feeling confident about themselves and they think that, oh my God, the world's come to an end and we're all just sitting around waiting to die, that comes out in their body language and their tonality. So it doesn't matter what words. You can have the best script on the planet, but no one's going to get through that script with a potential prospect because their body language and their mindset is messed up. So I love that you brought up scripts at the beginning, because scripts are not our enemy. They are our best friend. And we all have a script. You're doing a script, even if you don't have one that someone has written that they've thought out. Whatever you do the same thing all the time. Now it's just a matter of shifting it to something that's a proven track. And that's what you get on to have that success.
Thank you. And maybe we can do a little breakthrough session right now. And so what would you say or do or coach, not on the real estate side, but I would say the mindset and heart side to someone who's struggling? What's like 5 things that you did that worked that help you raise your spirit, raise your perspective, raise your attitude?
Number one, and I've been interviewed hundreds of times and they always ask a question similar. Number one is always for me, change your playgrounds and playmates. We say that in the 12-step program, but what it means is, who are you hanging out with? Who are you listening to? What are you listening to on YouTube or on the radio? Who are you getting your input from? Because if you're one of those agents that are in the 95% of agents who sit around pissing and moaning and complaining about the market, no matter what's going on in the world, if you're around those people, that's what you're going to do. But when you can get yourself around people that are successful, that look for the good in everything, changing our playgrounds and playmates is the first thing we can do. And we can do that for free, meaning watching podcasts like this one, listening to successful agents or whomever's in your industry. The second thing is, and these are not in any particular order, but as long as you're changing your playgrounds and playmates, change the way that you are presenting yourself. How are you showing up in the world? When I talk about Mingle to Millions, the art and science of building business relationships, how you show up, how are you being seen and perceived? Really start paying attention to your body language and what you're wearing and how you're showing up. Sometimes we just need to walk into some of these networking events or even at the mall or the airport, like really start noticing people around you. Notice that some people you are naturally attracted to and some people you are naturally repulsed by. Why is that? They didn't say anything to you. There's something in their body language or their energy or who they're being. that really turns you off or turns you on, and start taking cues from that to stop doing that thing and start doing more of that thing. Back to the whole change your playgrounds and playmates. I don't read as much as I used to, but I listen to the books a lot. I love listening to Grant Cardone. He talks about obscurity is our biggest problem. People just don't know you exist. So how can you start being seen and being heard? And one of the ways that I teach people to do that is on Facebook, through Facebook Lives. Stop being afraid of being seen. If you're in business, then do some Facebook Lives. Let people see you. Let them hear your expertise. And there's a whole bunch of different ways we could go in that direction. But those are some things that we really can take a look at. Why are you afraid to do a Facebook Live? If I were to go to your Facebook page or your LinkedIn page or your website, if your ideal client were to go to any of those places, would they want to hire you instantly? Are you representing yourself in such a way that they would want to hire you? So really paying attention to how you're showing up in the world. And there's a couple more, but I'll give you the floor, Justin.
Back up here, still holding that thought.
Yep.
Obscurity actually makes it even clearer on where we're going to go next. But I do want to address some of the questions we just got from our audience. So Robert Clark, thanks again for asking the question. And it goes back to, we'll put the underline under the word disbelief. We're talking about mindset. He put the word disbelief into his question. Yes. How do you work around the disbelief around expireds or expireds have? So I'm assuming he means about you or about them. So let's speak to an agent's disbelief about working expireds.
Well, so first of all, we have to remember, really get down to calling an expired versus a by owner versus a property that's vacant. You find the owners somewhere versus non-owner occupieds, which I really want to talk about today as well, because I think that's where the opportunity is in the marketplace. But if you're calling an expired, if your mindset is they're mean, they're negative, the reason they're expired is because they're hard to get along with, tons of other agents are calling them, like whatever that thing is that's going on in your head, if that's the way you feel about them, as Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So if you see them as negative and jaded and pissy and all that kind of stuff, that's exactly what you're going to get. But when you can come to the call or the door knocking or the email from the perspective of, I am a contribution to what this person needs. They had, a bad deal before. Maybe it was the agent's fault. Maybe the last buyer didn't get financing and they're just burnt out. Maybe. Is this my next appointment? Is this the next person that I can help? Can I show this person that agents have integrity and care about them and are going to get the job done? In other words, it truly is your mindset about what you're doing in any situation. If you're going to ask a woman out, if you're going to, call your credit card company right now and see if they'll push off your payments for 2 months. Like, how are you approaching any communication you're having with anyone? Because whatever you project is what you get back.
All right. Last time here, fist up in the air. Let's pump that fist. Let's talk about the next part of our show, which is about the opportunity side. And I think on the other side of the, my hand has to go this way. The other side of the equation of opportunity is obscurity. And so I think right now, more than ever, if, like you said, if agents are obscure and they're not out participating in some materially valuable way, they're falling into the trap that you mentioned. Grant Cardone says is the number one issue that business people, especially solopreneurs, solo agents, face. Let's help give the audience the flip side to obscurity and talk about what you think the number one opportunity is right now in the market.
Absolutely. So obscurity means people just don't know you. They don't know you exist. And so how can you be seen and be heard? If you really believe in your company and your service, if you believe that you're going to give that client the best service, the most professional, you're going to get them more money in less time and make it a smooth transaction, or even if you're a wholesaler or a bird dogger and you know that you want to get in the middle because you've got the best agent to refer them to, et cetera, then shame on you. Shame on you if you don't let those people know that you exist and that you can help them. So the biggest opportunity I see right now is that people are either A, scared, oh my God, I'm a landlord, people aren't paying me rent, I don't know what to do, I don't want to do this, I can't handle it, I need to get rid of my properties, and they're going to want to sell. Or their tenants aren't paying rent and the bank's going to make them sell because they're not making their payment. Or they were expecting a crisis and they were ready for it. And even if their tenants are paying rent or not, they're still riding high and they are looking for opportunity to buy property and they're ready to buy it because they got a cash full of money, a pocket full of money. I have a guy here in this area that's still a hard money lender. So many banks have closed down and aren't doing mortgages and hard money lenders have dried up, but he's raring to go. He's waiting for people to bring him deals. So with all that being said, all this property is getting ready to exchange hands. And another little piece of this that my friend who coaches in mortgages was saying, she was talking to a friend of hers the other day, and the friend said, we're going to sell our house now that we've been stuck in this thing for the last 30 days. What a piece of crap this is. We thought we would just rearrange the furniture, and now we realize the walls are falling in or whatever. Like, people are burnt out on their house. So some people are falling in love with their house being stuck in it, but a lot of people are ready to get rid of it. So with all these properties that are exchanging hands, specifically all the property owners with the rent and all that, non-owner occupied. Non-owner occupied was where I got my biggest commission check back in the day. And for those who don't know what that means, if there's a property at 123 Main Street, if the owner lives anywhere besides 123 Main Street, non-owner occupied property, which means it's an investment property. It may just be their mother's property that was left to them. It may be, one of 18,000 properties they have. But if they don't live there, then it's an investment property of some sort. And right now, they could potentially be thinking about getting rid of it, or they could be potentially thinking about adding to their portfolio. So when we can use REDX to get the phone numbers and the email addresses of these folks and reach out to them, now we step out of obscurity and into the limelight of, hey, property owner, I'm curious, with all that's going on, are you one of the folks who is looking to liquidate your asset, or are you looking to add to your portfolio? Because a lot of them are. So why not get the phone numbers from REDX and actually make the phone calls? Because the other thing that is a big opportunity right now, people are answering the phone. People are answering the phone now more than ever. People will answer the phone. So let's call them. Let's let them know that we're here to give them the best service possible.
Thank you for all that. And I'd like to jump into, there's the opportunity, mindset, opportunity, knowing what to say, knowing what to do. You scratch at the surface of it. We're almost at that next stage of the conversation right now. I don't know if everybody knows what owner-occupied properties are. Everybody knows what owner-occupied properties are. Not everybody knows what non-owner occupied properties are. And so we didn't ask you to mention this, but you brought this up because that was the question asked of you about opportunity. I think Robert Clark actually just popped that in, that we have a lead service called Furbos, FRBOs. And so just Google Furbo, or maybe Haley or someone behind the scenes right now can pop a link into that. That'll give you a little bit more idea on our version of how we service agents who are interested in that opportunity right now. And so when she pops the link, you can go check that out on your own. I just want to at least give agents an opportunity to follow up on that resources if they truly enjoyed what you said. And so next step, what to say, what to do. You can pick the path. You can pick the journey right now. I'll let you decide. Do you, A, want to just role play with yourself around what call sounds like and what to say and what to do under those circumstances? Or B, do you want me to be your role play partner and simulate that?
You can be my role play partner, but let me touch on the Furbos for a moment. When I've coached agents about calling for rent by owners in the past, sometimes they will say, but I don't want to take a listing that's a rental. I don't list rental property. So I want to clear this up too. If there is a phone number for someone who owns property that's for rent, they are an investor. Like, even if it's an apartment in their house, they're an investor. So when I call the Furbos, the for rent by owners, it's not to list there for rent. It's to find out if they want to sell that property or if they want to add more to their portfolio. So just a little tweak on mindset around calling a for rent by owner is that they are an investor and they're looking to buy or sell as well. So just want to throw that out there. And I want to give REDX a little bit more of a plug because I know that they are not here to do that, but I'm going to do it anyway because I really appreciate the service that you provide. As a real estate agent, I actually, 20 years ago, when I was hired by that guy, I was physically looking phone numbers up for him. When the expireds hit the expired list, I was looking up 100 phone numbers a day. And when REDX came into the area, oh boy, we were on it. So not only Furbos, but guys have the system where you can drop a pin. Like if you know where there's a bunch of non-owner occupieds, a bunch of rental property, there's a whole bunch of multifamilies, you drop a pin and you want 500 properties closest to it that have been owned for more than 5 years, bam, phone numbers of the owner, not the renter, of the owner. So let's talk about that. Let's do that role play. So I'm going to call you Justin, and you are someone who owns a potential rental property, and we're just going to roll with it. I have a script, but I don't even have it with me, but let's just go for it. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, Justin.
Yes.
Justin, I'm calling about 123 Main Street. You're the owner there, aren't you?
I am, yes.
Awesome. Well, the reason why I asked, my name is Cami Baker. I'm a real estate consultant. And, you know, there are so many properties that are exchanging hands right now. People are buying and they're selling. And with you being an investor, I was just curious, are you looking to liquidate any of your property? Or are you looking to add to your portfolio?
Well, funny you called. We've had some challenges in the last couple of weeks where people are starting to not pay their rent, and we've had the property for quite a long time, and so we've got equity in it. So we actually have been thinking about putting it on the market.
Well, you know, I'm sorry to hear about your troubles, but that's why I'm making these calls, because I know a lot of people are in your place. Now, do you have any other investment property, or is this the only one?
This is the only one.
Only one. So with that being said, and these folks not paying their rent, sounds like you might be open to a market evaluation to see what you can get these days.
Well, we have another real estate agent that we work with. So do you know Barbara Walters?
Justin, we all know 18 real estate agents. Of course, you know other agents, but you know, a savvy businessman like yourself obviously is going to get more than one opinion. So, you know what? I don't mind. I'm actually going to be scheduling some appointments as soon as this social responsibility and social distancing has been lifted. I'm going to be in your neighborhood. I got a couple of appointments anyway. Why don't we set a time to get together? And that way you can at least get more than one opinion. Are you going to be available more in the morning or the afternoon when all this is lifted?
Those are good points. Usually the afternoon's better.
Okay. And then, you know, I'd start asking some questions about the property. And so we're not role playing anymore. So the reason why I asked you, do you have other properties, is because a lot of the times people will just, oh, you're having trouble? Well, let's jump right in there. But I want to ask you, do you have other properties? I want to build a little rapport. I want to, you know, give you a little bit of a chance to be comfortable with me. I don't want to, you know, put off Barbara Smith that you know. Of course you know Barbara. Everybody knows Barbara and everybody knows 18 agents, but you're a savvy guy. Clearly you want to get more than one opinion.
Sure.
So it's about having a conversation. And remember, you are not on here, agents that are making these calls. You're not calling people trying to convince them to sell. You are digging through the dirt and the rocks to get to the piece of gold. You're not squeezing the rock to make it turn into gold. So asking enough questions to see if they're a piece of gold, great. If they are, make conversation. If they're not, next.
Why don't we simulate the other track? If I would have said no, not looking to liquidate, where would have you gone next?
Well, we can role play that a little bit.
Okay.
So because even though people are answering the phone more than ever, not everybody does. And so if you're dialing, and you finally get a human being on the phone, you want to make as much out of that as you possibly can. So let's get to that part. So Justin, you own 123 Main Street. Tenants are having a little bit of problem with paying rent. Do you own some other properties?
Yes, we do.
You do. So you're one of those landlords who's had some success. Are you looking to add to your portfolio? You looking to do any liquidation?
No, not at this time.
Yeah.
Kind of ride things out.
Well, now anyone who owns multiple investment properties usually belongs to other investment groups. Are you part of the RIA, the Real Estate Investor Association?
No, I'm not.
You're not. Do you know any other investors, or who else do you know that are investors in the area that could use some really professional service to help them right now?
I can't really name any off the top of my head.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you taking my call, and you stay safe and healthy.
All right. Thank you.
In other words, I'm going to ask him for someone else. Now, we're in a role play, but usually people who have multiple properties, they do belong to the RIA, or they do have a group of guys that they meet for coffee to talk about electrical problems and tenant problems, etc. And usually he's going to say, yeah, I know a few people. And I'm just going to say, well, who do you know that could use my services? Because at least if I have him on the phone and he's at least been kind enough to talk to me, then I'm going to take it one step further and see if I can at least get a referral. And if not, no big deal. Like I said, we're not trying to squeeze him and force him to sell. We're just asking a simple question.
Awesome. I'm gonna throw my hand back up in the air. I don't know why this is fun to do today. So this is me holding an idea because I'll forget otherwise. Let's hold some
Power.
Power.
Power to the agents.
Power to the agents. Power to the prospectors. Yeah. So mingling to millions. How does this fit in, and how does this adapt to the current times?
You know, the difference between mingling and networking is mingling means to join together, to come together, to co-mingle, to move easily in a social situation, etc. So, with what's going on right now, back to the fact that so many people are answering the phone now. A case in point, about 3 weeks ago when this all kind of started, a gentleman called me. I saw his name on my phone. He had never called me before, somebody I met at a networking event. But just the fact that he was calling me with what's going on, I felt compelled to answer the phone. Was he in trouble? Did he need something from me? Like, why is this guy calling? And I answered. And it was just a friendly call. Hey, Cami, with everything going on, you're just on my mind. And I just want to check and see that you're okay and healthy. So we had a very nice chat. And since then, he's actually sat in on a couple of my webinars. But my point is that people are answering the phone more than ever. So to take this opportunity to mingle with the best of the best in your center of influence, to really reach out. Anyone that's watching this knows thousands of people. And if you can't admit thousands, then at least hundreds. At least 100 people that would give you business, that would refer you, that does know an electrician you need for that deal, that does know a hard money lender, et cetera, et cetera. We all need resources and relationships to lead to the revenue. And right now, to take this golden opportunity to reach out and first and foremost, with all the warmth and kindness in your heart, ask them, how are you? It's been 3 months, 3 years since we spoke. And I really want to make sure that you and Mary are doing well. Have that quick conversation. And, depending on where it moves, if it's a mortgage person, or if it's a past client, or it's somebody you went to high school with, just getting on the phone with people will lead to things that you have no idea what's going to happen. So Mingle to Millions, the art and science of building business relationships. When I got that first non-owner occupied check, I bought a 64.5 Mustang convertible. And with that car, I knew that whether you were 6 or 60 years old, your head would turn and look at that car and everybody would think it was cool. So I started doing a car show. And with the car show, the very first show I did, I got 50 cars there. And because they were all trying to give me $20 to register, which I wasn't ready for, I was totally ignorant, had no idea what I was doing, just out mingling. I figured out, what? Lots of people could use 50 times $20. Who can I give that money to? So I started giving it to a horse rescue farm that rescued horses from slaughter. And I started making calls every year. Hey, Justin, Cami Baker here. Hey, listen, my car show's coming up. You and Mary bought a house a couple years ago. I'm just curious, we're looking for hot cars. We're looking for people who love cars and businesses that want to promote themselves. And of course, people that want to help the horses. This kind of conversation led to not only, hey, my brother's got cars, he'd love it, or my mom's a pampered chef, she'd love to have a table, or hey, my church volunteered at the rescue farm, I'm glad you're doing that. What also would happen was people would say, Cami, glad what you're doing with the horses, but let me ask you this. What's going on with the market? What can we get for our house right now? So when you genuinely make a list of 100 people and reach out to them right now just to talk about how are you and what's going on, I guarantee you 30% of those calls are going to turn into how's the market? What could we get for our house? You know what? My neighbor's scared shitless. They're going to move up to the woods now. Maybe they could use your help, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You will get business from calling people from just being a good person.
I love that. I love that so much. And so I got my fingers in there, and now I got an L shape for getting what it looks like on screen backwards, maybe to everybody. Two things. Before I get into these two things, if you guys are loving this and you're watching this live, give us some shout outs, give us some thumbs up. Let us know you're enjoying what we're sharing, what you're hearing, because it means a lot during the show to let us know we're talking about things that matter to you and are influencing your life. The first thing on the list now, you talked about resources. You talked about relationships. Let's give the agents right now who are listening to this, what type of relationships should they be reaching out to create or make? And what resources should or do they need to make those relationships eventually turn into revenue?
Wow. I mean, wow, we could talk about that for hours or days, but any of the people that you've been wanting to create a relationship with, you want that mortgage guy to start giving you more business. You want to add electricians and plumbers and landscapers and bird doggers and hard money lenders to your portfolio. Now is a great time to do that. Be thinking about that. Like, really think, take pen to paper. Of all the coaching and mentoring that I've received and that I've given, there's something really magical about taking a good old fashioned pen and a piece of paper and starting to think and write. And when you start thinking about, you know what, I could use more of these people in my arsenal, then you'll start thinking of even more. And for me personally, when I was a real estate agent, I love doing business with business owners, because people would say to me, "Oh, you're in real estate, you must work on the weekends and at night a lot." And I would say, "No, I list property. And when I've got 15 or 20 listings, all the other agents are showing them at night and on the weekend." Because when I was prospecting between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m., people will say, well, don't more people answer the phone at night? Well, that might be true, but the ones that answer the phone during the day are typically business owners who set their own schedule and can meet with me when I want to meet with them during the day, et cetera, et cetera. So be thinking of, who do you want to do the most business with? Do you want to do business with business owners, or do you want to do business with more investors, or are you a first-time home buyer person, et cetera? I had a woman last year. We worked together to create Realtors for Recovery, and we partnered with the Rotary, and we were helping with the opioid crisis in New England. And we started doing a diaper drive for a place that helped women who are coming off opioids and they can't pay rent or buy food, much less diapers. So we're doing this diaper drive. And the agent says to me, Cami, I want to help. I want to help with the diapers and all that, but I also want to build my business. How does this relate? I said, who's your ideal client? She said, I want to work with people that are in their late 20s, early 30s. They've already got kids, 4, 5, 6 years old. They're ready to sell their first home and buy their next one. That's an ideal client, double end deal, right? So I said, instead of going to the networking events, how about if you actually went where your clients are? So think about where your clients are. So for her, if people have kids that are 4, 5, 6 years old, they go to the orthodontist, they go to the pediatrician, they go to the karate dojo, they go to the dance studio, they go to Mommy and Me, they go to school, et cetera, et cetera. How about putting together a campaign to find the resources and the relationships that you're looking for by actually being strategic and getting in front of those people? So for example, I said, take the flyer for the diaper drive and you go to the dance studio and you say, Mary, we're doing this diaper drive. We're helping these women that are coming off opioids. And I want to get some partners that will be a brick and mortar drop-off location. And Mary, if you want to partner with me, I'll do a Facebook Live and I'll let everybody know They can come to Mary's Dance Studio, 123 Main Street, and drop off diapers. And because we're doing it on your Facebook Live, all of your clients, all 500 sets of parents, are going to know that you are a contribution to the world. You're going to have brand loyalty. And
no, this is my thing. I'm not trying to stop you.
Oh, okay. And when you have this on Facebook, your clients are going to share this with all their friends and family because they want to help the women and they want to drop off diapers and they want to be a contribution. So all these people are going to be showing you, Mary, and your dance studio to all their people. So when you think about this kind of strategy, not only is Mary at the dance studio going to get business from this, but now Mary and all of her people know 18 realtors. Who do you think they're going to build relationship with? And when you go to the orthodontist and the pediatrician and all these places who have each other's clients, and you do a Facebook Live with each one of them, and they're all drop-off locations for the diaper drive, and you teach them all how to like and comment and share each other's Facebook Lives, can you imagine the tens of thousands of people that will see you as the real estate agent, that will see all of these businesses that they hadn't seen before, and they're all complementary businesses that can support one another. So, my dear friend Justin, that's how we build relationships and resources, by having a strategic mind and by hiring a business consultant like myself that comes up with these crazy campaigns that will give you more business than you know what to do with.
We're going to give you some link as we get towards the end of the show. And so check out the comments as we go. Check the description below this video. We're going to be putting a lot of the things she said and she's mentioning in there. And so I'm going to put my fist back in the air, not because there's an idea, but that was rock solid. And you did two things. One thing is you answered the question, how do I overcome obscurity? Right? That was huge. If you didn't catch it, that is how you become visible in your market. Helping others become visible, that makes you the person. And so I just want to know if you did it on purpose, but yeah, right. We got it. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm all about. I'm all about how can you leverage social responsibility in your marketplace? How can you show up as a contribution and make a difference and make money at the same time? The best way to get referrals, my friends, is to give them first. So when you do that Facebook Live with your local dance studio and you are showing the whole world that Mary's a contribution to the world and sharing it on your Facebook feed and your LinkedIn, et cetera, and when you make a list of those 10 different businesses that are all drop-off locations with you and the Rotary and the diaper drive, and you send that list to your email list, and you go to all the mortgage and title places and you show them that you're being a contribution to the world, and you are referring all 10 of those businesses before you ask for anything, and instead of asking for anything, guess what happens? Law of reciprocity kicks in, says, you know what? You've done such a beautiful thing for us. We want to reciprocate. How can we help you?
You've just unlocked something. You've given me permission to now ask the audience. Go take the link right now and share this, right? Go do what we're doing and pay it forward and help us get the word out more. And so just go up into your browser, copy and paste that. Share that in your LinkedIn, share that in your Facebook group. Let your broker know, right? Ask your broker to take this link, share Cami's video specifically or the whole series. It's free, and it'd be your way of helping us get the word out and doing exactly what Cami's saying right now. We would love that. Now I've got something new I've never done before. I'm trying it out. We'll see what happens. I'd love for someone in the audience who's been on the show listening right now for the last at least 5 minutes to put the name or type of people you would like to work with. She said, go find this person, go find that person. If you have a list in your mind of the type of people you would like to work with, I'd love to work with Cami right now and have us do a brainstorm session to give you direct, specific things you can do to take advantage of how you can reach those people. So while we wait, you're getting jazzed up.
I love that. And what you said was if you know who you want to work with, that really is a bit of the problem most of the time. People don't know who. They say, well, I can work with anybody that wants to buy or sell. But when we try to be everything to everyone, we're nothing to no one. So, pick a category. Now, if you're calling expireds and for sale by owners and non-owner occupieds, yay. That's where the rubber meets the road. That's the cream of the crop. That's the hot ticket. But besides that, when you want to meet human beings and just be out mingling and build your center of influence with your ideal clientele, let me know who it is that you're wanting to get in front of, and I will give you a campaign that you never would have thought of.
We're talking about doctors, lawyers, insurance people. Um, what are some of the other categories if we could spark some imagination in exactly this?
Could be teachers, academia. I'll give you this example while we're waiting for someone to pipe in. There was an agent I worked with in Phoenix who, for some reason, he wanted to work with academics. Like, he likes dealing with professors, and that's just his thing. It just goes to show, just because you're a real estate agent, there's 50 agents in your office. Every one of you could be targeting a whole different demographic and not competing at all, because I don't have any interest in working with academics. So we came up with this campaign. His company was doing something around souls for the souls. So they were gathering shoes. They were gathering, gently used sneakers. So I said, go to the colleges, and in that area, in any area, there are dozens of elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, colleges, trade schools, et cetera, et cetera. I said, you could go to any of those, all of those, and let them know, hey, we've got this big box, Souls for the Souls. I would love to put these boxes in all of your dorms and all of your, cafeterias, whatever, and gather up these shoes. The other thing he wanted to do was be a coach and a teacher and a mentor. I said, you could actually meet all the academics you could possibly imagine. You could tell them, hey, next time you're having your meeting with all the teachers, I'll come in and explain to all 100 of your teachers why we're putting the box there, who it goes to benefit, et cetera. And you could actually offer to do a seminar in the cafeteria for all the students, teaching them why, when they donate their shoes, every set of shoes will buy a tree to be planted in such and such country, et cetera, et cetera. And here's the thing. Now people want to share it. Now the media cares who you are. You're not paying $500 for an ad. You're in a story written about how this beautiful agent is doing these wonderful things in the world, and they're having shoes donated to plant trees in other countries and all this kind of stuff. Now you can go speak at the Rotary and the Lions Club and the women's group, et cetera, et cetera. Talk about getting out of obscurity and being seen and being heard as the go-to person in your market. Hello. Dropped
it. All right. We've got some answers, some eager participants waiting to receive a blueprint, a mental map, a game plan. And so I'm going to put some out there for you, and I'll let you choose which one to approach. And so I just want to welcome back Connie and Amanda. Pat, again, thanks for chiming in. So we got 3 solid ones here. We have Connie wants to know about luxury homes. Robert wants to work with golfers. Rob wants to work with golfers. Robert wants to work with Zumba clients. And Pat wants to work with 55 and older communities / home builders.
I got one for all of you. Let's go with the golf and the luxury for a moment, because those kind of go hand in hand. We can kind of double dip. So on top of knowing who you want to get in front of, it's important for me to know what you're passionate about. And for some people, let's say, for example, your mother passed away of breast cancer, God bless her. You might be really, 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 really passionate about that. Or your dad was a veteran, or you have a house full of rescue dogs and you're all about animals. If that's the case, awesome. If you don't have something you're really eager to support, then we pick something strategically. So let's say, for example, I had another guy who wanted to get in front of affluent white collar professionals, and he loved golf, and he loved a group called First Tee. So First Tee is a group that will bring inner city kids to the golf course, and they get the white collar professionals and golf professionals to teach these kids how to play golf. But ultimately, it wasn't about teaching them golf as much as it was changing your playgrounds and playmates, and getting these kids into a different conversation, and meeting and mingling with people of a different caliber, et cetera, et cetera. So I told this guy, I said, First Tee is who you want to play with. You want to help these inner city kids. You want to bring them out on the golf course. Hello. Now you have a reason in that 25 or 50 mile radius, wherever you do business, to go to every golf place, all the different golf clubs. In our area here in New England, in a 30 mile radius, there's at least a dozen, if not 20. And there's all of the higher echelon of restaurants and the golf pro shops and all these different places that he went to actually talk to them. Hey, we're doing this first tee thing. We're wanting to find just the right golf course that wants to partner with us. Who do you know that does this, that, and the other thing? And of course, here's the thing. Once a ball starts to roll down the hill, it keeps rolling and it gets momentum and it gets faster and faster. So in the beginning, to make a list of those 10 golf courses, just make a list of them. Once you start talking to them, before you know it, now they start introducing you to people. Now you start going and hanging out in their club and talking to more people. So that's just one example. And here's the thing. It's not just about the event. So for example, with the first tee and golf, yeah, you're going to set up an event where the kids are coming out to play golf. But the 3 months leading up to that, think about all the affluent people that you can talk to, whether you're emailing, whether you're mailing, whether you're door knocking, whether you're calling. Hey, listen, just want to let you know, here's what we're doing with First Tee. We got all these kids coming out. We're looking for supporters, blah, 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 blah. And once you get your foot in the door, having that conversation, well, that's when you got to put your big girl panties on and learn how to shift to, hey, you guys have been living here for 25 years. Have you thought about seeing what you could get on the market? Like, in other words, making eye contact, hand-to-hand, belly-to-belly interaction will lead to things you have no idea.
And that's where I wanted to go next, which was perfect. With the remaining time we have, we're under virtual lockdown. And I know you know the answer to this, which is why you're here. Let's apply what you just said, but let's take it virtually. If you can't meet belly to belly, we can still do what you're saying. Help us understand exactly what to do now that we're in this situation.
Well, look, once again, people are answering the phone like never before. And even if they don't answer the phone, when you reach out, like, this is the best time to start the prospecting or the lead generation or planting your seeds or whatever you want to call it. So you can reach out to people on LinkedIn. You can reach out to all the CEOs of the company that have the affluent properties or that would have the golf courses. And you can say, hey, Mr. Smith, I'm partnering with First Tee. We bring inner city kids to the golf course, and we're looking for just the right collaboration partners. Here's another distinction I want to make. Stop talking about sponsorship and start talking about collaborating. Sponsorship is very passive. I give you $5,000. 3 months from now, my logo's on the banner at the golf course. Big deal. How can you collaborate so that everybody is meeting and mingling with tens of thousands of people before you even get to the golf course? So this is about being able to get your foot in the door, even if it's LinkedIn, even if it's Facebook, even if it's sending an email. So about those of you that have 100 or 500 or 5,000 or 10,000 people on your email list, when was the last time you actually spoke to them, picked up the phone? When was the last time you actually engaged with them personally? When was the last time you made a video and sent the video to your email list? Hey, everybody, just want to make sure you're happy, healthy, and well. The fact is, with all this going on, the puppies still need our help. Like, the puppies are still hungry. And as you know, I'm very passionate about animals. So here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm looking for, blah, blah, blah. And it gives you a reason, an opportunity to get in front of them even before you can get in front of them.
The greatest performers always say, leave them wanting more. And I think time flies when you're having fun. So if we put those two together, that brings us really close to the end of the show. And so leaving them wanting more, where can they reach out to you? What links do you want us to drop inside the chat so people can follow you, get more information, and keep this conversation going between now and when we have you back on the show?
Well, I am the alliteration queen. I am real, raw, relatable, and reachable. If you look up Cami Baker, CamiBaker.com, Cami at CamiBaker.com, and I even give my phone number out. Ooh, as business people, why do we hide our phone number? I don't know. But my number is 603-785-2598. And let me know that you saw it here on REDX, and I'll give you a special bonus.
Let's give it up for Cami, everybody. Clap, round of applause, fist bumps. whatever these things were I was doing before. If you're in the chat, show some love, give some thumbs up. Let us know how much you enjoyed today's episode. And if you have, give us a thumbs up on the like. It helps our videos spread virally and getting this great information out to everybody. We're getting some claps, some thanks. Dax, Rob, thanks so much. Again, if you're not already on the email list to get the updates when new shows like this go live and the upcoming script ebook / video, please put your name on that. If you're watching this on YouTube but not on the email list, go to theredx.com /blog. Wait for the pop-up, put your name in there. You're going to get some great information. And so just a quick update. Tomorrow we have another great guest, Chris Salerno, followed by Mark Leader, and then finally Johnny Perez. And so I just love everybody showing up, giving fist bumps and all, but I'm actually going to be taking a day off or so. So I look forward to, in the next day or so, introducing you to another host who's going to come on here. He's going to drop the mic in ways that I haven't even thought of yet. And so I look forward to having him on the show, our next guest on the show, wrapping things up, taking a little bit of R&R. This is episode number 25 in a row. So thanks everybody for all the energy you've put into making these shows fun and exciting for our guests, for myself. And so I think that's it. I'm going to drop it right here. Oh, P.S. We have something called the Elite Prospectors Facebook group. If you're not on that group and in that group, we're going to post the video to that in there. And at the end, Cami's going to come in and answer some questions after the show, some QA. And so if you have other thoughts, other ideas, you want to connect with her even further, you can watch that video inside that group. Go Google it, find it. It's in Facebook, Elite Prospectors Group. And that will be a wrap for us today. I'm your host, Justin Zimmerman, with the Stability and Opportunity Podcast. I hope we brought you a little bit of stability and a whole lot of opportunity. See y'all next time. Same time here at 1:30 p.m. Mountain.